Hi everyone, Melissa here. Today is my first set for what I'm calling my mini Mani marathon. It's not that the manis are mini, but the marathon is. It's 3 different manis in one weekend, 3 different videos, 3 different manis, and for this mini Mani marathon, I'm doing 3 different Halloween sets. I'm very excited about these. I'm doing a lot of fun stuff with these techniques, so hopefully you will love them. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right in and get started. This first one, I'm going to be doing a Nightmare Before Christmas themed mani. So I'm using Funny Bunny. This is a retired double dipped color. So is If You Must. It's a Great Mustard and Gratitude as well. None of these are actually available, unfortunately. I apologize for that, but they are the perfect colors to me for kind of a Sally's dress look, which is what I'm going to be using for the background for my manis. They're going to have a lot of hand-drawn nail art on this, and I don't know. We'll see. I kind of have exactly what I want to do planned, but it's going to be slightly impromptu, so I'm just right now straightening out my shape, making sure everything is nice and clean. So far I have prepped my cuticles, and that is and shaped, of course, and that's about it. So I'm just gonna buff out the nail, and then we're going to apply the prep bond. And I do have tips, just a little bit of tip on these two, because they broke down a couple weeks ago and I want to make everything the same length. It's not a lot, but it is there. So I'm going to go ahead and use my double dip prep bond to help prevent lifting. Okay, and how I'm going to be applying this is kind of just sprinkling them on. I'm going to be doing, I don't know, call it a tie-dye or a, I don't know, you'll see the effect when it's done, but it ends up really looking really cool. So we're gonna just kind of sprinkle the colors on. I'll show you with the first nail how I do it, and then we'll get through the other nails pretty quickly. Before I do any of that, with any design I do that you want the base to dry a little bit slower, I like to paint the bare nail with a layer of base and let it dry, just because the natural oils in your nail do cause the base to dry quicker. So that second layer will dry slower and you'll have more time to work with it. And once that first layer of base has dried on your nails, we're gonna get started with the design. So I'm gonna go ahead and have all 3 of these open. And I'm just using my trusty little e.l.f. eyeshadow brush, who I love to use for ombres and different kinds of sprinkle designs. It works very well, picks up a good amount of powder. I'm going to start with the first nail. We'll start here. Just going to paint a full layer of the base on the nail. I'm going to start with my mustard here. Just kind of gonna tap it on. Not trying to make it perfect. Tap off the excess here, make sure that it's not, of course tapping it into the jar would make more sense, right? Going to tap some pink. And then into the turquoise. Tap off that excess. And then brush. And I'm going to do that for a couple more layers here. Keeping the same design. I don't want to start tapping in other areas or the colors will start to mix together and you may get like a brown. So you want to try and keep the colors in about the same place that you do it the first time, if you can. once I have third coat on there, we're good with that. And we're gonna go to the next nail, and I'm gonna do the same thing, but in kind of different designs, different like spots, and change it up for all of them. Okay, now that they are all covered in dip, I'm actually going to dip each one of these in clear to encapsulate it, and then I'm going to buff and file them and get them ready for the art. So I'll be right back once that's done. Alright, now that I'm done with my filing and buffing and all that good stuff, getting these nice and clean, first thing I'm gonna do before I start drawing or anything else is I'm gonna kind of dinge these up a little bit. I want to just give them more of a Halloween-y, kind of not so clean and pretty Eastery vibe. So what I'm gonna be using is just a pencil. I'm using a pencil to do this. And I'm going to kind of go right around the border of the nail and fill that out with the pencil. Just make a line all the way around, including on the tip. Not easy to do on yourself. All the way around the sides and right all the way around the cuticle. I'm going to kind of just draw a little towards the center, shade it inward just a bit. It looks kind of messy, but you can take your finger and use that to blend any little pencil lines or anything that you have out. So it just looks like a smooth shade. Going towards the center. Kind of gives a little bit of depth. Just a little something extra to... If you want the border to be a little more pronounced, you can always go in with a Micron pen or even a deeper black kind of pencil to add more darkness along the outside, adds more depth. Okay, I'm going to continue to do this to the rest of the nails also. Alright. Once you're happy with that, that you've done, okay, then we're going to get into the hand drawing. So this is definitely a higher difficulty design, especially with the hand drawing, but I'm gonna try and make it as simple as possible and break this design down in a way that's a little bit easier so that maybe you can try and replicate it in some way. So what I'm gonna do first is my jack. I'm gonna draw a jack on this nail. Now to do this, drawing circles is pretty difficult, I'll say that. But the way I like to draw circles is if you have a dotting tool that's much larger, that would work. But I like to use like the end of a paintbrush or something with a circular end. And I will use that to kind of help me form a good circle. So I'm going to put a little bit of, this is the white paint I have. You can use any white paint. You can use acrylic paint. I have this Sharpie fine point paint pen, and I'm just going to force some paint out of it that I can use applied a different way. Just because this is what I have to work with at the moment. Could not get to the store to get regular paint today. So I'm just gonna dip the end of the brush in that, dip off the excess. I don't want there to be too much. And we're just gonna go kind of towards the top center of the nail here and start making kind of a circle. I like to go like in a circular motion with it and start laying out the head. I'm probably not going to be perfect, and I'm going to have to come back in with a paintbrush just to make it more detailed, to make it more smooth, the circular shape. This will help me get there. Let's check. His head isn't a perfect circle. It's just can be slightly oblong. Cool. So I'm gonna leave it there with that, and then come with my brush and detail that out a little bit more on the edges so that it's a clean lines on the edge of the circle instead of that lumpy bumpiness. Okay, so that's going to be his head. That doesn't look like it yet, but it will be. Next we're gonna draw what is gonna end up being his shoulders and his sleeves and stuff. We're just gonna come, I don't want there to be too much, straight down with a little bit of a neck here. And then we're gonna come out for the shoulder right here. Straight down, kind of where his body would be. You can see that's not great coverage on that first layer that I did here, but that's okay because I'm going to be putting another coat on just to make sure it's covered well. But this is the base for our jack, basically just this shape. Dry, you can go in and do kind of a second layer to make that white a little more opaque. If yours went on opaque the first time, then you don't have to do this. A lot of this is going to be covered up with black anyway. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. And then we are done with the paintbrush. And we are only gonna be using pens from now on. Okay, I'm gonna be using my Pigma Micron 1/4 millimeter line drawing pen for this, so I can get nice tight detail for it. So we're going to come, I'm gonna start it around here because you're a little bit lower, and then come up, and we're gonna kind of draw out his collar. This nice spiky collar. collars in. Now we're gonna go in and do his suit. So we're just gonna start down here. It kind of gets like the striped lapel vibe there without too much trouble. All right. Now we're gonna do his face. I'm gonna start with his nose. It's kind of like center-ish. Two little dots. We're gonna do a big, wide skeleton grin. Lines going through. And then it's always funny doing that because it looks like his little eyes in his mouth. But it's not, because we gotta do his eyes now. So we're gonna start here, do a little bit of a drop down, wrap around kind of shape. Fill her in. And then same on the other side. Hopefully y'all saw that. All right, and there's our Jack. Now he's done. I'm gonna move on to the designs on the other nails. So we're going to do on this one, do a little bit of like a swirly, the swirly hill kind of look. slightly larger pen. This is a 0.45 millimeter, just because I want to fill this in a little bit quicker. Alright, then I have a design element that I want to bring all the way across. It's just going to be like a little gate. Just a teeny tiny one. So I'm going to let that dry first. I do not want to smear it. It is not fun smearing these things. This size back. We're just going to do a gate that's going to come across. Okay, and then I think on the side I'm going to do a little creepy tree. Kind of give it a cohesive from side to side. Kind of split it off, branch it, however, and make the branches a little squiggly, not straight. Like maybe arms reaching out. I need to do just the basic layout lines, then you can go and add a little bit of width to them, kind of thicken them up. I'll thicken them more towards where they split off and then go thinner as you go. Alright, I think that is good, so I'm gonna leave it here. I don't want to overwork this. To top this off, I'm going to be using a gel base and a gel top. Gel base before the gel top because I don't want the gel top to peel off. I don't, know that it will, but I don't want to risk it, so we're going to be doing gel base and gel top. I'm going to be using my double dipped gel base and top coat. I'm doing that because I feel like the dip liquids will most definitely smear at least the pencil work. I know that the ink line work generally stays with dip base as long as you let it dry enough, but I don't want to risk at this point messing up this design. So very first, make sure that your design is completely dry before you put the base coat on. You do not want it to smear you will cry. Also, when you are applying it, try and float it over instead of dragging against the nail, dragging the brush hard against the nail, because that even sometimes when it is dry will cause the nail to smear, the design to smear. We're going to gently float that over, and then we're going to cure each of these nails. We're going to cure the whole hand actually for 60 seconds. Okay, now we're just going to put the no wipe top coat on, cure for 60 seconds again, and then we've got some cleanup to do, but we are done. And there we have it, our finished Nightmare Before Christmas set. I can think. All of the pencil, the graphite, all of that will come off super easily with just alcohol swab or alcohol on a paper towel, or just wash off with soap, I'm sure. So you don't have to worry about all that staining. But there we go. There's the finished Nightmare Before Christmas set. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, let me know. I'll be happy to respond. And don't forget to tune in. I will have 2 more videos coming in the next 2 days with some really fun Halloween designs. So I hope you will come back to see those. Anyway, thank you so much for coming to watch me do this craziness. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.